Hello viewer, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to establish the secret beyond long living. I know it is the desire of each and every person, including myself, to live long so we can see our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. But what is the secret behind long living? Join with me as we go through this video, 15 minutes video, as to establish the secret behind long living. We know that the present world is prevalent with lifestyle diseases, and many persons have lost their lives through lifestyle diseases at the tender age. But we have an example in the Bible of the antediluvian who lived a very long life. What was the secret behind it? So today we're gonna explore the reason behind long living. And there's nothing other than the diet. So we're gonna let nature, the perfect book, to teach us about diet and how it contributes to long living. We know that God left us a great clue as to what foods we should eat. But beloved, we have refused to learn, and we have become such slow learners. We shall begin with the herbivores. And the first herbivore to study or to share about is elephant. An elephant is an herbivore. It maintains good health, it gains gigantic strength, and reaches great age only on vegetables. We are such slow learners. The second example is hippo. Hippo maintains good health, and it gains gigantic strength, and it reaches great age only on vegetables. So friends, we can see that all the secret behind health, strength, and long life is actually using vegetarian diet. Our third example is giraffe. Giraffe has a fantastic long neck, a long leg, and it has a dark mark on its fantastic coat. Remember, giraffe is a vegetarian. So the secret behind long living strength is vegetarian diet. Let's continue to another example of herbivore, which is horse. The horse is second to elephant in terms of intelligence. It moves at a terrifying speed, and its eyes are able to provide almost 360-degree vision, and it is 5.5 meter tall. Remember giraffe, or remember the horse is a vegetarian. Our fifth example is rhino. Rhino has a massive weight. Rhino has a fast an angel. Rhinos are fast an angel. If if there is an herbivore that has a high speed, that if it chases a human being, you cannot overcome it, is a rhino. It runs at 64.36 km per hour, far much less than human being. The fastest woman in the world is Faith Kipkemoi, and she runs at 26 km per hour. So that tells you rhino, a vegetarian, has a high speed. We have another example, which is buffalo. Buffalo has a massive weight. Look at it. It has a massive weight. The buffalo, you remember, is a vegetarian. Our sixth example is a cow. I know many of us keep cows in our homes, especially in Africa. Many persons love cows, and in the other parts of the world. Um, a cow is able to maintain a vigorous strength and a perfect health on what kind of diet? Is vegetables, is also vegetarians. So, dear friends, dear viewers, if we want to live long, the secret is vegetarian diet. Tortoise. The tortoise too is able to promote health, prevent disease, and live an extended lifespan of between 165 to 226 years. Look at that. The tortoise can live between the age of 165 to 226 years simply because he's a vegetarian. He's not a meat flesh eater, he's a vegetarian. Let's go to our next example. So friends, those are few examples of the herbivores, giant herbivores, who have a massive weight, who have a strength and good health and live long on vegetarian diet. So we are such slow learners indeed. But let us, you may ask, what about the omnivorous? Let's look at the chicken. The chicken though omnivorous cannot maintain good health on insect alone. Merely by instinct it knows that he has to help himself to grain and to some grass too. So friends, that tells you that as omnivores, because we know human being is also an omnivore, he cannot maintain good health only on flesh diet. So we need to take uh, vegetables, and we know that our blood is made of chlorophyll. Blood is made from chlorophyll. So without taking vegetables, we cannot make good blood. We cannot have a long life. Remember also, if you plant seeds, if you plant grains, they germinate and give back or bear fruits. But if you plant meat, it decomposes on the soil. So that tells us that vegetables, grains, vegetables, and nuts, they had life. So let us also look at a cat is a carnivore, but by instinct, it cannot maintain good health on flesh alone, but merely by instinct it knows that it must help himself to grain and some grass too. So friends, none of us can live without vegetables because vegetable is like everything to us, to our health. It says we have a dog which is a carnivore also. The dog, though carnivorous, cannot maintain good health on flesh alone. Merely by instinct, it knows that it has to help himself to grain and to some grass too. Yes, if you live around a home, when the corns have begun to mature, you'll find that most of the dog feces contain maize because they help themselves to the grain. And also, if you're so keen, you'll find that this dog, when it has eaten something that he fears it might be poison, he help himself with the grass. So friends, the only way to have a long life is vegetarian diet. So why should we discard flesh foods? Here's the reason that when we take flesh, we are but eating grains and vegetables at second hand. For the animal receive from these things the nutrition that produces growth. The life that was in the grains and vegetables passes into the eater. We receive it by eating the flesh of the animal. How much better to get it direct by eating the food that God provides for our use. Yes, friends. When we take meat, the animals, as we've seen, they take grains, they take vegetables, they take nuts and fruits. And then we go and buy meat. We are actually taking the grains and vegetables in the second hand. Why should you go for a second hand cloth while you have the power to get the first or the new cloth? So here is the reason why we should truly discard flesh meat. So another thing we're going to look at is what is the proportion? What is the right proportion we should take in our diet? And the right proportion, the correct diet proportion is we should take 80% fruits and vegetables and 20% of grains or nuts. This is the correct diet. The reason is because our body is 80% alkaline and it needs alkaline so that we can overcome diseases like cancer easily strive, the cancerous cells or cells strive much in the acidic condition. So when we take, and the reason why many persons attack with such is because flesh is a source of acid in the body. So we need to be keen on how we balance our diet. We just don't eat for the purpose of feeding our stomach, but we should eat in the right proportion. So here's the example. We need to take more vegetables and less of ugali. Ugali is made of corn. It is a mixture of water and corn in Africa. It's a delicacy in Africa. So it is a grain, in other words. But many of us engage in wrong diet proportion because we take 20% of fruits and vegetables and 80% of grain, and therefore we make our body acidic and unable to overcome those bacteria that strive in acidic medium. So friends, today let us remember to correct our diet. Let us just don't eat because we desire to feed our stomach, but let us eat with knowledge, able to identify the right proportion of food we should take. I want to take us through a few examples of vegetables which compose 80% of our diet. One of the key vegetables that we should take, because many of us we are acquainted with cabbage and kale, so sukuma wiki. This is the most common. And if someone varies it much, he will go to the locals like managu and saget. But let me introduce to you some of the most important vegetables that also should compose of our diet. One of it is broccoli. Broccoli is the king of vegetables, and it has a taste more or less close to that of a meat. And as you see, it is designed as a heart. Is one of the best vegetables we should take. Another example is cauliflower. Another example is parsley. And another example is celery. Celery is very important, especially for those who have sleepless nights. Do not run to aspirin. Just extract the juice of celery and take a glass. I can assure you, you'll have a very restful and peaceful sleep that night. We also have okra and asparagus. These are just a few vegetables, a sample of few vegetables that I've picked. Um, though we have so many variety of vegetables we should take. So any leafy vegetables should be part of our diet. Another group that should make 80% of our diet is fruits. Fruits, we have avocado, we have banana, pomegranates, pineapples, mangoes, and grapes. I know most of us are acquainted with avocados, bananas, but hardly are we acquainted with pomegranates. So please, as you go to your vendors, kindly try to get pomegranates. Is one of the greatest and suitable fruits in our body. It's also medicinal, equally to grapes and many other fruits that we can find within our locals. Let us take much of the fruits. Let's ensure that in each of our diet we have a fruit, at least a fruit in our diet. The next component that consists 20% of our diet should be grain. Grain is things like wheat. So if you want to take your chapati, chapati is 80%. Ensure that you have a fruit beside it, you have vegetables beside it. And we have another example, which is barley, we have beans, we have peas, we have lentils and rice. And also we have maize and many other grains that we ought to take, because I know the basic diet of Africans is ugali, and here, so grains like maize should be used. Another proportion that composes 80% is the nuts. And one of the greatest nuts is almond and Brazilian nuts. As you can see, almond is alkaline, equally to Brazilian nuts. We also have the cashew nuts. You see it's designed as kidney. So it's very important. It's great. It's supplying nutrients for your nephrons, and nephron cells, and the kidney cells are provided through these cashew nuts. We have the walnut, which looks like a brain. It feeds the brain with phosphorus, fats, and proteins. So when you take these walnuts, it really improves the sharpness of your brain. We also have pecans, we have coconuts, and many other many other nuts we know about, like the groundnuts. In Swahili is called njugu. Those are some of the nuts we know of. And um, so how can what do we learn from all this nature book? We learn that when flesh food is discarded, we should supply a variety of grains, nuts, and vegetables and fruits to our diet. That all the elements of nutrition are contained in the fruits, vegetables, and grains. So we do not need to take meat, because when we take meat, we're taking it in secondary, and it might not contain some nutrients that directly plants absorb from the soil. So plant diet is very crucial. Look at those fruits. So nice, grapes, bananas, watermelon. Another reason why we should adapt God's design or the Back to Eden diet is One of the greatest errors that men insist upon is that muscular strength is dependent upon animal food. But the simple grains, fruits of the trees, and vegetables have all the nutritive properties necessary to make good blood. This is a flesh diet cannot do. So we see that simple grains, vegetables, and nuts can provide all the nutritive properties. So why should we need to take meat or flesh? We truly do not need it. The Lord intended to bring his people back to live upon the simple fruits and vegetables and grains. God provided fruit in its natural state for our first parents. Yes, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they could only pluck the trees and eat on them in their natural state. There was no fire, there was no nothing there. So that is the kind of diet the Lord desires of us to get back to. Look at those fruits. Those are the fruits that we ought to take. Vegetables, fruits, and grains should compose our diet. So our diet should compose of three major important ingredients. Those are vegetables, fruits, grains, and also the nuts. And we're told that not a ounce of flesh meat should enter our stomach. The eating of flesh is unnatural. Yes, our system do not need meat. It was just allowed because of flood. But because God has graciously blessed us with enough piece of land, no floods, let us get back to God's plan. We are to return to God's original purpose in the creation of man. Yes, and in the creation of man, we've seen God gave our first parents fruits. So, friends, let's get back to Eden diet. So, do you want to live long, my fellow viewer, my fellow friend? If you want to live longer, now you know the secret. Now you know the secret, and the secret is to eat vegetables, fruit,